This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network.
Did you know that every word you speak matters? Are your conversations making a difference? With a passion for words and a heart for conversation, Teresa Velardi is a self-professed word nerd, best-selling author, BizCat 360 columnist, and publisher. Children's books as well as fiction and nonfiction books are welcomed at We Be Books Publishing and Book Endeavors, the imprints of her company, Authentic Endeavors Publishing. Whether written or spoken, Teresa strives to encourage and inspire meaningful conversations that make a difference. Here's the host of Conversations That Make a Difference, Teresa Velardi.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Conversations That Make a Difference. I'm so excited to have our friend to Conversation That Make a Difference, Andy Berger, here with some additional guests that we'll get to in just a moment. But first, I want to say that Conversations That Make a Difference is live every other Tuesday, first and third Tuesday, actually, at 5 p.m. Eastern Time with call-in shows. And you can watch the replays 5 a.m. and 5 p.m. on Tuesdays. You can listen live on Dream Vision 7 Radio Network and online, in your car, on your phone, and you can even ask Alexa to play Dream Vision 7 for you. Most people know I start with a serenity prayer, so I'm going to just take a moment right now with you all, and we'll take care of that. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And it is by God's grace that we are fabulous, blessed, and highly favored, living in our greatness, using our gifts and talents, making a difference in the lives of others with passion and purpose. And all of God's great universe is conspiring in our favor. And together, we gratefully say, Amen.
Amen.
So, those of you who have been with the show for a while know Miss Andy Berger, international speaker, author, and survivor of child sex trafficking, advocating globally for victims of exploitation. She founded Beulah's Place, rescuing 300 plus at-risk teens, and later co-founded Voices Against Trafficking, uniting voices worldwide to defend human rights. Her books and the internationally distributed Voices of Courage magazine, empower survivors and human trafficking champions, excuse me. She has also a best-selling book, Voices Against Trafficking, Voices of Courage. Courage is Contagious. And we're looking forward to the future TV series, right, Andy?
Absolutely. We're looking at 2026. We may be slow, but we're going to get there.
We're going to get there eventually. God's timing is always perfect. Just remember.
Absolutely. Thank goodness he is.
We also have with us Alma Tucker. Alma has a list of credentials the length of my arm, but in the short run, we're going to say that she is the founder and executive director of International Network of Hearts, an institution, and she's a pioneer in providing care for victims of human trafficking with international presence in both Mexico and the United States. She founded the only shelter in Baja California dedicated to supporting children, adolescents, and young women in vulnerable situations, recognized by the United Nations as one of 12 Mexican shelters dedicated to victims of human trafficking. Alma also founded the first and only group home in Baja California designed for young survivors of human trafficking, with over 200 children coming through the shelter since 2010. You were named 2024 Citizen of the Year in Baja California. And that's just a few of the things that are on her lengthy resume. You can read all about her in the description on the YouTube channel on the replay. Welcome, Alma. It's nice to have you with us. I can't wait to hear more about what you're doing to help these people who have suffered immensely through this tragic practice that is going on in the world today. We also have Brian Searcy, a retired colonel in the U.S. Air Force, and you're a #1 best-selling author, international best-selling author, situational awareness expert. And after a decorated senior leadership career in the U.S. Air Force as a commander and combat veteran, you transitioned into an executive role as a business entrepreneur, a writer, a publisher, and public speaker. You founded the Paratus Group to use his dedicates, tested, and proven. Try and say that 3 times fast. And training experience to solve a need for relevant, effective, trustworthy principles, training methodologies, and programs to allow for the learning of leadership and situational awareness. The leadership abilities and situational awareness mindset and behaviors that are developed allow critical decisions to be made in the complex dynamics of the home, schools, the workplace, and our communities to both grow as leaders and to make us all safer. And that's exactly what we need today. Right, Brian? Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And Bruce Ladabou spent 20 years as a professional adventurer, explorer, and guide, traveling to some of the wildest places on Earth, including first ascents to the Arctic and the expedition on the polar ice cap. You've spent time over 4 winters in the Canadian Rockies, following and photographing wolves and other wildlife. That must be fun. And since then, you've started a number of organizations and have advised leaders in many nations, along with speaking in those nations. Bruce has extensive training in tactical skills and has trained in multiple combative arts, including, you'll name them. I'm like, how do you say that?
Muay Thai.
There you go. There you go. As of August 2025, Bruce and his teams have personally rescued 2,600 children and adults from labor, slavery, sex trafficking, and given them a start in a new life. Bruce has a master's degree in Christian leadership, and his first book was published, Out of the Slave Fields, and he's working on the second one, called The David Effect and Your Life Story. And also, I will go back and say that Brian is also an author. Prepare for the Real World. The World is Not a Safe Place. And his forthcoming book is the nation unaware. Ladies and gentlemen, you bring an incredible amount of knowledge, strength, wisdom, courage, and fortitude to this conversation today. So welcome and thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome. I'm going to go to Bruce first, if you don't mind. Bruce, tell me a little bit about your most recent accomplishment with rescuing these children from labor camps and slave and sex trafficking, and how do you get the courage to do that yourself? It is so awesome.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we go out multiple times every year to different nations. We do work here in the U.S. too, but the majority of it is in places that most people just don't want to go. Nobody is really interested in going into these really crazy places. So my last one was in Africa, where we had to take these wooden boats across a massive lake to get to a place where children were enslaved by the cartels, little children. And we had it arranged so that some villagers would sneak these children out to the shoreline, and we were able to get these children out and get them into a school, and they're doing it really well. We've rescued 29 children in that particular place. Wow. And we go into brothels and brick fields and other places. And the youngest child we've rescued out of a brothel was 3 years old. Oh my goodness. The average age of the children we're rescuing is 10 to 12 out of the brothels, and we rescue all ages out of the labor slavery, little children all the way to people that were born into slavery and they're in their 70s and 80s and have somehow survived all those years.
Yeah, and how you wonder how just the post-traumatic PTSD that people suffer from situations like that alone, let alone the physical abuse and emotional and mental abuses that happen. I just have no idea how they get through this.
Yeah, what's really interesting, because I've discovered that the children who were born into slavery recover quicker than the ones who were taken and traumatized. That is a very slow process, but the other ones that were born into slavery, that's all they have ever known. And we've seen a very rapid turnaround with them, such as some little girls that we rescued out of a labor camp, and they were beaten and bruised. And we just rescued a few weeks ago that the slave owner broke the girl's arm and gave the boy a concussion, 7-8 years old. And we get these children out and get them right into loving families, and we have a survivor care program which has been really successful in seeing overall success. Some take longer than others, but it's amazing how these children are treated.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I can't imagine, but thank God that you have places for them to go where they can be safe and live as a child should live, in a loving family, a loving home. Absolutely. Brian, you want to tell me some of your adventures?
Well, 23 years in the Air Force. I graduated from college and went and did sales like a lot of guys with a marketing degree. After a few years, realized that wasn't what God had planned for me. So went down the track of going into the Air Force. I told the recruiter the only way I'd go in is if I could fly, and ended up going to nav school at Mather Air Force Base in California. And then for 23 years, it truly was what I was meant to do. And then since I retired in 2010, the last 15 years, I've just carried that on. I navigator for the AWACS and JSTARS, was in the very first combat that we had in the Gulf War, and then was pretty much involved at some degree or another, either in the combat or leading those that were, till I retired in 2010. Mm-hmm. Had a squadron command, a group command, and then a wing command, two tours to the Pentagon, mm-hmm. 2 master's degrees on the way, and then got out, did sales, didn't like it, should have remembered from my time after getting out of college, and pretty much been an entrepreneur since then. And a number of years ago, God put on my heart that the way that we try to deal with all the threats that we face in our country today are not working.
Exactly.
Andy and I have talked about how human trafficking in the last 8 years has gone from a $500 million business to over a $13 billion business. And we just keep throwing the same type of traditional training at it, hoping it's going to fix the problem. So God took all the training that I've had, like I said, for 33, 34 years, and we put together a program to empower parents, families, communities, churches, businesses to take back responsibility. But you do that through actually learning and developing the skills that empower you to be a protector, to be a provider, to be a leader. But it takes a little bit of effort, and that's the difference with our program. The other difference is that we apply it to all the threats. Our goal is to empower parents, friends, teachers to be able to recognize the indicators of human trafficking and then be empowered to do something about it before the kids go into that or are lured into that. Most everybody else here is the rite of bang, and boy, do we need that. And or the rescuing of the kids, and boy, do we need that. We also really need that holistic approach. We need to tackle it from the left of bang as much as possible, so that everybody in our communities know what this threat is. But then, even more importantly, they're empowered to do something about it.
Amen. And I have to say, I think that a lot of the situation that with this trafficking is because a lot of people, most people, as massive as this problem is, most people don't know what to do. They don't know what to look for. They don't know where to go. They don't know how to speak to their children about the dangers that are out there. And so I think that you have a big part in providing what most parents are even unaware that they do need. So,
well, it's God's plan, and we have the 4 Ps. And Andy, you're gonna go 4 Ps. I thought it was 3 Ps. It's 4 Ps, and the first P that we've added, Andy, is prayer. Every day you need to be in the Word. You need to be listening to the Lord, praying to the Lord, and it starts with that. Then the next 3 Ps are you need to be prepared. Unfortunately, today, only about 6 or 7% of the citizens in our communities are prepared. Then you need to learn how to prevent. Again, that's the focus, and the process that God put on my heart based on my 38 years of experience has a step in it that teaches people, empowers people to develop the habits and behaviors to know what to do, what you just pointed out. Sometimes people will see something, but they have no idea what action to take. And then when they don't know what to do, they don't do anything. They become paralyzed. Right. Or there's the bystander effect where they go, well, Bruce will do it, so I don't need to do it, right? Instead of being able to take responsibility and step up and actually do something about it. And that ties into parenting, that ties into everything. So I could go on forever, but I'm going to let you talk to some other folks here.
Okay, but I want to know just name the 4 Ps again so that we can,
Yeah, the 4 Ps starts with prayer. Then it's to be prepared. And like I said, only about 7% of people today are prepared.
Right.
The goal is to prevent bad things from happening. We want to stop bad things from happening by identifying them and have thought through and predicted different things that we can do. And then the 4th P is if you have to, you're prepared to protect. And then we have a 5-step process that is God's process. It's identify, assess, predict, decide, and act. Bruce probably is well aware of the OODA loop. It's a process in the military. I would try and present that to moms and dads, and they'd look at me like, what the devil are you talking about? I don't want to deal with this military process. So God put it on my heart to come up with the identify, assess, predict, decide, and act. And it's a process that you practice all the time, everywhere you go. It took me a while, but Andy does it all the time now. So
he can teach me. He can teach anybody.
I think that process is good with just about anything, whether you're talking about this major issue that we're discussing and have been discussing on a regular basis, to business. It goes to anything, identify who it is you want to work with, assess the situation. Are they somebody that fits into your, it all works. So thank you for that too. I'm one that takes notes. So if I spit it back to you, I've been listening.
And one post note too is, we know that only 17% of all law enforcement in the U.S. gets any training at all in human trafficking. So we need to really get that turned around as well, because they get so little time. How are they supposed to make that process work for them in 30 seconds, right? Unless they have the training to do that. So,
Well, and the other thing for that, Andy, is right
Mhm.
now across the United States, for our emergency responders, they only have about 8 to 9% of their time that they can actually spend on prevention.
Wow.
The other 90 plus percent is all having to respond to the things that are going on. That's why it's important for every citizen to learn how to take responsibility to do these types of things, to keep everybody, we need to, like I said, we need to learn to be those protectors and those providers and those leaders in our communities. And the more people that do that, the safer we're going to make our communities.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said. Thank you. Alma, I am impressed by your resume, and I'm most importantly, I want to talk about your role in protecting the kids at the. You're actually at the border with all of this. Yes. So talk about what you do and how you manage to get through, heart and hand with all of this.
Thank you. Well, yes, we are in the border from Mexico and United States, the busiest border in the world. I mean, approximately 3,500 people cross every day back and forth. And then this is a big cities, San Diego and Tijuana. And as you know, has the problems of cosmopolitan cities when it's a lot of tourism, it's a lot of economy back and forth, but it's also a lot of human trafficking and smuggling. Then my background, I learned about the law against human trafficking working with the Mexican consulate in San Diego. I've been living in San Diego for the last 35 years.
Mhm.
And working in the protection department, I was able to help migrants coming to United States and provide services. Some were in the hospital, some was passed away trying to make it to United States, but they were forced in sexual exploitation or labor exploitation. And taking care as an consular officer of little kids, teenagers, then they bring them illegal to this country and force them to have sex, when they bring them through the mountains and it's nobody there, they abuse them. Then one particular case impact my life. When I was working in the consulate, was a little girl, 12 years old, and thanks to the Border Patrol at that time, she was rescued and brought to the hospital. And I was there with her through the hours. Then she needs to testify against who hurt them. Thanks to Border Patrol, that detained those individuals. But being in there next to a little girl crying for mom, at that moment, I promised myself that either if I don't work anymore as a consular officer, I will be myself available to be with a girl, boy. Then in situation like that, parents are not next to them. Then when I retired from the consulate in 2002, we as a family, we decided to start this non-profit. And it was important to be on both sides of the border. As you know, Mexican being a third world countries, they're behind in a lot of training. So either with the firm decision to fight against human trafficking, because unfortunately, with all the corruption that exists in Mexico, the authorities kind of like live in denial. Nothing happened here in Baja, nothing happened in Mexico. But obviously, with the statistics from the TIP report, from other important reports, Tijuana is identified as one of the cities that had the bigger numbers of victims of human trafficking. And in the side of in San Diego, they're more organized. The authorities, the district attorney, she's definitely fighting against human trafficking. Then what I've been doing is training authorities in both sides of the country to identify victims of human trafficking, because as you know, no one is raising the hand and here I am, please help me. They don't either. They make them feel like they put themselves in those positions. And as Brian mentioned, for peace, but we are working in the other for peace, then United Nations um, uh, um, invite everybody to work in protection, help them with the persecution, being a partnership. And that's what we've been doing with Andy and protection. Then we've been training for years, both sides of the border, but in 2013, we opened the first shelter in Baja California for girls. And we were impressed to see little girls coming, after they were rescued. And many times who force them to exploitation is their own parents. This is why it's important to exist these shelters. But we noticed too then boys were rescued. And then we do the next step in 2018 and open another shelter for boys. As you know, boys are the silent victims. They're afraid to talk. They told them if they say something, they're going to just make fun of them. But it's obvious that then they need help too, the boys. Mm-hmm. And in 2019, we opened the transition house for 18 to 24. Nice. Then for us, we believe if these kids, if these teenagers are not healed, they can come to be a victimizers. This is why it's important to stop the circle and to bring those children what they deserve, and it's a quality care for healing and reintegration healthy to society. This is what we've been doing. And to this point, we've been taking care of more than 200 children, but we know it's more children that has to be rescued.
Right, absolutely. And on that note, we have to go to a break. And when we come back, we're going to introduce our other guest, Dr. Pamela, and we'll be back in just a minute. Don't go anywhere.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are you one of the many people who said, someday I'll write a book, but don't know how to get started? Many wannabe authors have begun with the same question and are now published by Authentic Endeavors Publishing, a multi-imprint hybrid publishing company. Whether you're writing an autobiography, a memoir, a kingdom book, a children's book, a business book, or an anthology, we have a place for you. Visit www.AuthenticEndeavorsPublishing.com for more information or to set up a 20-minute consultation. Your title of published author is within reach. Born Able exists to highlight and normalize the humanity, worth, and abilities of infants and children born with complex medical conditions. We write, illustrate, and publish books for these children and have featured over 1,000 children throughout the world. Our videos and posts have been viewed over 100 million times on social media as we strive to showcase these amazingly abled kids and fight relentlessly for equal medical care, regardless of diagnosis. All proceeds from Born Able books go directly to the Born Able Foundation. To nominate a special kid to be featured in a Born Able book, go to www.bornable.org to learn more.
Did you know that every word you speak matters? What you say and how you say it can make or break a relationship or shift the outcome of any situation. Are your conversations making a difference? Faith in God, gratitude, authenticity, and giving are Teresa Velardi's heart. It's in this spirit that she's focused on making a difference in the lives she's blessed to touch. Conversations That Make a Difference is now on syndicated Dream Vision 7 radio network every Tuesday at 5 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern Time, with live call-in shows every first and third Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
And we're back with a team of people whose central focus is voices against trafficking and saving the children and the people from all of this insanity that is going on in this particular part of life. And we had during the time that we were doing introductions, Dr. Pamela Pine has joined us. She's been an international in communication. throughout her adult life. Since 2000, she has been a dedicated advocate focusing on the critical issues of child sexual abuse, including trafficking and other adverse childhood experiences. With extensive experience in trauma-informed programming, she aims to educate and empower individuals. I noticed that you're an artist as well, and that you received the 2025 Voices of Courage Award. I did as well. So thank you for joining us. I appreciate you being here. I know you're traveling and there's some noise in the background, but let's do the best we can to hear you, okay?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. I am in an airport, and if there's announcements coming above that's interfering, I'll just mute myself for a second until it stops. Yeah, my background is international public health originally. So I've been working throughout the world for more than 40 decades, working on some of the world's most difficult problems: leprosy, HIV/AIDS, TB, maternal child health, childhood vaccinations, et cetera, et cetera. And 25 years ago, I was, as a fluke, really got introduced to the issue of child sexual abuse from information that came across my screen from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. They were looking for proposals on all different types of interpersonal violence, and child abuse was one area. And I gravitated to the child sexual abuse area because my sister was a therapist working in California, and she had gotten a reputation for being successful with regard to working with survivors of child sexual abuse. So I started reading there, Teresa, and I frankly couldn't stop, because what I very quickly found out and then learned more about was that the numbers of girls and boys, not only in the United States, but abused throughout the world, is through the roof. In the United States, the stats are 1 out of 4 to 6 girls and 1 out of 6 to 8 boys sexually molested by the time they're 18. And where this fits into your focus on trafficking, and everybody's focus here on trafficking, is that the kids who are getting sexually abused at home are often running away from home and then have no place to go. They have no shelter, they have no food, they have nothing. And the traffickers are very aware of these kids, and they are targeting them. And then they're grooming them and enticing them into the quote unquote business. Wow. They give them a roof over their head, they give them food, they give them clothing, they give them shelter. And then they're stuck. And so part of what we do is a very strong focus on the preventive as well as the treatment and mitigative aspects of child sexual abuse, as well as other adverse childhood experiences, physical abuse, emotional abuse, neglect, et cetera, because all those kids end up being at risk.
Yeah.
But we're working very, very hard to make sure that there is a cumulative voice that understands these issues, can detect a problem, can prevent the problem, and then can address the problem, so that we're backing up all of the potential even worse, additional abuses and injustices that befall these kids.
Yeah. It's
my music.
What?
Dr. Pine is speaking my music.
Speaking your music, exactly. I think we're all singing the same song here, right? So, Andy, how did you meet Dr. Pine?
Let's see. We were introduced. Pam, correct me if I'm wrong. Was it Lori DeFranco? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. The memory's still there. All right. Yeah. And through Connected Leaders Academy. And so when we connected, what she did resonated, and what we didn't probably go into as much are the 2 certification and master's programs that Dr. Pamela Hine has created so that anyone can get certified in trauma care for child sexual abuse. And as she just said, it is intimately related to human trafficking, because that is often how it comes about. And if, like Bruce said in the beginning, some kids and victims that are born into slavery, okay, they have a little better chance of healing differently than someone who actually remembers what it was like to be an innocent child and to play and have fun, and then suddenly have that ripped apart, from their life. At 6 months, I was already involved in that, so I didn't know anything different. And it's a key distinction. But with what Pam does, it's very critical that sexual abuse, sexual violation is one of the most intimate and soul depriving acts that can happen to a human being, whether you're a child or an adult. And that requires special attention, special kinds of counseling, special people to help bring that about. Because at some point, let's say it's a child, they're going to grow up and have relationships. How do they have a healthy relationship with intimacy or with trust if we don't give them and intercede for them in those areas? So we do some tandem speaking platforms as well, because it goes hand in hand. And Pam, you might want to mention IVAT, your connection with that, why that's important in San Diego.
Absolutely. First of all, thanks, Andy, for bringing up all of those things. The first, let me underscore a little bit more information about the certificate to master's degree in child trauma and protection. It's all online except for 4 1 hour, 1 to 1.5 hour Zoom, online on Zoom conference calls. And it's very comprehensive and brings people through a real understanding of what adverse childhood experiences, including child sexual abuse, are, what they do, the grooming process, communication issues, advocacy issues, and then the master's is even more intricate. And these are very, very affordable. We reduce the cost to half for people in the global south for both of them. We are trying literally to put the world on the same page with regard to these issues. Stop the Silence is the organization that 25 years ago I founded and created and ran as the CEO up until January of 2021, when Stop the Silence became it was Stop the Silence, Stop Child Sexual Abuse was the full name of the organization. And then in January of 2021, because of the relationship and camaraderie and collaboration that Stop the Silence and myself had with the Institute on Violence, Abuse, and Trauma, or IVAT, Stop the Silence became a department of the Institute on Violence, Abuse, and Trauma. They're located in San Diego. I run the East Coast office with Stop the Silence of IVAT. And IVAT works on the entire host of interpersonal violence issues, recognizing their interrelationships. So bullying, adverse childhood experiences, including child sexual abuse, domestic violence, elder abuse, and all of the rest of it.
Right.
They're
So
all,
if our listeners want to learn more about this and how they can get involved or how they can become part of your educational programs, where do they go?
Yep, they can go 2 places. They can either write to me directly at Pamela P, that's PAMELAP, at, and I'm going to say it and spell it because it's long, IVATcenters with an S.org, IVAT ivatcenters.org. And our website is ivatcenters.org/stop-the-silence.
Okay, great. We'll put those links down in the
Perfect.
for when the video goes on to YouTube. I'll make sure that they get in either what's already there or in the comment section so people can go there and
Perfect.
find out.
Thank you.
Thank you for all that you're doing. Thank you all for all that you're doing. So every single one of these people before you, for those people who are listening, has something to do, has a role to play, an assignment that was given by the grace of God to every one of these people in order to be able to curtail or prevent or even rescue children and adults that are in this modern day slavery. There's no other way to say it except for modern day slavery. Everybody says we're no longer slaves, but in actuality, hello, here we are. We wouldn't be having these conversations on a monthly basis with Andy and the people who have been drawn together in order to be able to stop this. Children, I have to say this, that from the Sound of Freedom, God's children are not for sale.
Right.
God's children are not for sale. Brian, what do you have to say about all of what we've heard so far?
No, it's you've got a great group of folks here, and like I kind of alluded to, this is the holistic approach that we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Pine is kind of the whole holistic approach. My focus is more left of bang and prevention, and then you've got Bruce and I'm sorry, Alma right there, who is doing the rescuing and then helping the kids afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
The focus needs to be, and I think I mentioned it, emergency responders don't have the ability to prevent things anymore. That's why parents need to take back that responsibility, because God's called us all to be watchmen or watchwomen.
Mm-hmm.
We need to be able to see the danger coming, prepare wisely, and then protect those that are entrusted to us. And we need to replace fear with, and confusion and clarity with, action and the ability to take action. And unfortunately, like I said, the traditional training that's been out there for trying to prevent all of these things for the last 15, 20 years is just following Einstein's definition of insanity. So we need to do something different. We need to have a way for people to truly be empowered by learning the habits and the behaviors and to follow those 4 P's that I talked about, to take back that responsibility and be the ones to actually, try to keep the kids from being human trafficked, but then also be paying attention and knowing what to look for those kids that are being human trafficked. Just a quick story. Andy's heard this numerous times, but a elderly family or husband and wife, they were big into trying to, do something about human trafficking. They'd been to training after training, which is really just providing information, but people forget about 90 to 95% of that in a week, unless they develop those habits and behaviors. So they took my program, and using the predict phase, they said, okay, if we ever think we're seeing a young boy or girl being human trafficked, this is what we're going to do. And that's important because nobody will do the same thing. Bruce has more training than I do. And Bruce and I, if we saw somebody being human trafficked, would do way more than probably any of you women. And it's nothing against you. It's just because of what we're capable of doing.
Exactly.
So every individual needs to figure out what they're going to do. So this elderly couple said, if we ever think we're seeing a young boy or young girl being human trafficked, we're going to follow them out for wherever we are. We're going to try and get a picture. Well, they were in a restaurant. They saw a young boy that they thought was being human trafficked. All the signs were there. That the man got up, basically dragged the boy out. They got out, went out, followed them, watched them get in the car, took a picture of the car and a picture of the license plate, and then dialed 911, and were able to share that with the 911 dispatcher. And the dispatcher, while they were typing all the information in, the couple heard the dispatcher say, "Oh, that's a stolen car." Well, she never was able to find out if this young boy was being human trafficked and if they found him, but they now were able to actually take action because they not only saw it, but they had figured out what they would do if they ever saw it. And then they actually took action because they were empowered to do that. And that's the difference with how we're going to actually go about making a change and empowering, our citizens to do something about it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Great example. And when we come back from the break, we're going to talk about different ways that people can contribute to provide some of the services that are necessary for these people once they are rescued and once they are saved from the horrific slavery that they're in. So stay with us, and we have good things coming up. And after the next break, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Do you have an uplifting personal story to share? The Daily Gift Book series began with a daily gift of gratitude and a daily gift of hope, both available on Amazon. We're looking for people like you to share a story in our continuing series. Kindness, peace, inspiration, and generosity are just a few of the upcoming topics in the Daily Gift Book series. Your stories matter, and they make a difference. Visit www.dailygiftbookseries.com to find out more on how to submit your story for one of the upcoming titles.
With the hustle and bustle of today's world, how often do you practice gratitude? How can you make it a habit? Gratitude is more than putting a smile on your face and being thankful for the roof over your head. It's expanding your perception and finding gratitude for every opportunity and every challenge. Gratitude is a feeling of connection to things higher than yourself, to God, and to others. We focus on light, positivity, and connections. When we join our grateful hearts together, the power of community attracts more people and even more to be grateful for while making a difference. A grateful heart is infectious. Share it. Join our Grateful Hearts community on Facebook. Go to facebook.com/The Grateful Hearts Community and watch your blessings blossom.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
And we're back, and I just want to share the Daily Gift Book series, gratitude, hope. And they're in this order because God gave me this assignment, and he said gratitude first. And from gratitude, you build a hopeful heart. And when you mix them together, you become a more kind human being and you can live a more peaceful life. So that's the order that they came in. And the next one coming out is the Daily Gift of Friendship. And the reason friendship is next is because you can develop really good relationships from a peaceful place rather than one of whatever it is that you had before that. So that'll be out around Thanksgiving of this year. And also around Thanksgiving of this year, coming right before the weekend before Thanksgiving, we have an event happening called DJs Against Trafficking. And we have a visual for you to see that. Andy, you want to talk about this?
I do. It's music with a mission. I love it. And thanks to actually Teresa's producer, Dizzy D, we have DJs Against Trafficking, and we are going to do literally around the world music, raising awareness, raising funds, and helping people understand the topic and the truth and the hope of human trafficking, but also getting to listen to a lot of outstanding music. We're going to start in Thailand, and we're going to go to all different countries, Africa and Paris, France, and the US, and all kinds of places with different sets of music. And then also we'll be featuring artists and some of the music from Broken Treasures, the Inspiration album, which is our fundraising album from Voices Against Trafficking, 15 original artists with original songs that they donated specifically to help bring messages of positivity, triumph, and, sometimes life goes sideways, but there's still a way to move forward. So we're really excited for all of the people involved in this, and Teresa and I are going to co-host together. So that ought to be a hoot right there.
Yeah.
Worth the price of admission, which is free. So download the app and join us Saturday, November 22nd. And since you all are on the show, you're welcome to be part of the panel discussions or some of the breaks that we have to pop on and say, hey, this is what I do, or this is how I'm involved, and we'd love to talk to you.
Yeah. So to start the show off, we're going to have a 2-hour conversation with some of the people that are on this show today. And some of them have been on the last several shows that we've done on Voices Against Trafficking. And we're going to do everything we can in order to be able to help raise money for the care and possible, placement of these people who have had issues in this, have been trafficked and are coming out of it, so that they can feel safe and they can feel loved and they can get back into a reasonable life that every single one of us enjoys. God did not create us to be trafficked. He didn't create us to be harmed. He created us from a place of love, and he is love. We are instilled. He is with us, and we are instilled with that love, and it's supposed to be shared around the world. And Bruce, speaking around the world, you have been around the world. There's a movie, Around the World in 80 Days. I bet you could top that, Around the World in 80 Days. But tell us about some of the things that you have discovered that people can learn a little bit from you and your adventures, as you call them, around the world.
Yeah, well, I think one of the main things I've learned is that there's a lot more trafficking of children than I ever expected. In some of the nations I go into, you can walk into almost any cafe or hotel and there'll be children in there working. A lot of them are the minority religion. A lot of times they're Christian. And it was shocking to me. I started out working in Pakistan for many years, and the amount of slavery that goes on over in that part of the world was just unbelievable. I stood on a hill one time looking across brick fields and hundreds of people enslaved.
Yeah.
When we go into other parts of Asia or Africa, I'm always stunned. I've been doing this full time for 16 years, and I'm still stunned sometimes of what we see. Just unbelievable. And it's growing. It's not slowing down. I feel like I'm trying to empty the ocean with a teaspoon.
There you go.
Our slogan is, it matters to the one.
Yes.
And so every single child we rescue, it matters to them. And that's what I hold on to. And we visit the children, and I remember 2 girls that we got out of a brothel, and we pulled up. It was a truck stop in Asia. Got out, walked in. My team separated the madam. We checked every room, and I saw 2 little girls washing dishes. Walked down and motioned for them to come. They automatically got up and came with us. They're conditioned. And we got them out, and there was just nobody home. You look in their eyes and there's just nobody there.
Yeah.
We went back to visit them after we'd gotten them into our survivor care program about 3 or 4 months later. And I didn't recognize them. They were playing, they were in school uniforms, they were laughing. And I'm looking around trying to figure out where these girls were. And then somebody said, those are the 2 girls. It was amazing. But yeah, just it's everywhere. Everywhere we go, there's so many kids that are being exploited.
It's crazy. And it's facilities like where they were cared for and they're going to school, that this event that we're putting together is going to help to fund some of the services that are provided to care for these children, particularly. My heart, the children, wow.
It's a tough thing, but as Bruce was talking about, because we now have a small group of kids and basically adult orphans raising orphans in Uganda and Pakistan, and we're going to look at South Sudan next because as you might remember Eric Karen from the other show, Teresa, and I know a couple of you know him or have met him, who also was a Voice of Courage recipient, but when he went there with a partner of ours that has started StopChildSoldiers.org, they thought they were looking at an orphanage. They were there to go get pictures of an orphanage, and it was really an internment camp with 2,500 children in one warehouse. No restroom facilities, no health care, nothing like that. And they're forced to be child soldiers. And so that's just horrific. And we know a number of men who have decided to help because they were also child soldiers, forced into that at the age of 6 and 8 years old to carry guns and to fight. So we have a world of hurt out there, but we also have a world of wealth and of compassion. And so that is what collectively we are all trying to do. And support each other in all of those things. And each of us has a key piece, you know, what Brian does, what Bruce does, what Pam does, what Alma does, you know, what we do, you know, Voices Against Trafficking is like the hub and everyone else is a spoke, and they still maintain their identities as a nonprofit or whatever. But we find ways that we can work together and do things better, because you know, I firmly believe as a nation, we abdicated our responsibilities as adults, whether we have our own children or not, to be the watchful eye for our kids. You know, you don't have to have your own children to be part of the solution. You can be outside the playground, you know, when kids get out of school, and just look up and down the streets, watch the sidewalks, whose car keeps going around the parking lot, you know, things like that. Simple things, but we have to teach them.
Yeah, exactly.
God doesn't plan us to be protectors just for those that are in our sphere of our family.
That's right.
We're supposed to, you know, be part of the body, whether it's the church body or your community body. And that's the responsibility that we have. And to your point, Andy, people don't know that today.
That's right.
That's what we need to empower them with, educate them with, and give them the tools so that they can do that.
Yeah, the every person for themselves thing no longer flies in this world. You cannot be just focused on you and what you can have, or what you can do is another situation. What you can do something. You can make a choice to do something about a situation that you may see in front of you. Or if you don't have the wherewithal to do that, and you can financially support organizations who do this and who teach people to look out for the dangers that are before them, and they are all over the place in plain sight. They are in plain sight, but this world goes through life with blinders on. Dr. Pam, what do you have to say about that?
I absolutely agree, 150,000%. And I just thought I'd say what I'm doing. The reason I'm in an airport is I'm going around to various states doing talks about child sexual abuse and other adverse childhood experiences, also trying to put everybody on the same page with regard to these issues and their understanding. And there's a few really simple things that people can do with regard to this. And I'm telling these people, these audiences all over the place, for example, I wonder if any one of you has ever been asked by their general practitioner whether they have a history of childhood trauma. I've never been asked. We can each go to our physicians or GPs or pediatricians or other doctors and ask them if they are asking people about that very basic history. We can also teach people what to say if they encounter a situation where there is a child who has been sexually or otherwise abused. 4 simple phrases can get you so far. I'm sorry that happened to you. I believe you. It wasn't your fault. And I'm going to help you.
Yeah.
And we don't even know that. We don't, as a society have taken on really hard issues that were unmentionables before. Breast cancer, HIV/AIDS, we tackled those. This is the next frontier, and it has to happen.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you. We only have 2 minutes left. Alma, you're on both sides of the line between the nation, our nation, the U.S. and Mexico. And with all of this stuff going on today, with people being sent back, people who are here illegally and causing harm to other individuals, what are you seeing as far as the influx and outgo of people who are potentially still trafficking kids across that border now?
Well, the message of the President Trump is being very strong, and the number of people brought to the United States illegally is definitely going down. Only with his speech then we don't see the same amount of people trying to come illegal to United States. The organized crime is actually in very difficult situation right now. I don't know if you hear the news, but they're uncomfortable, obviously, because they cannot bring illegals to the United States. We see a lot of things affecting our community, like feminicidios, like they're killing women, disappeared kids, disappeared people. There is a lot of things going on in Mexico, but definitely the number of illegal people crossing to the United States is coming down. And the deportations is the same than before, either less, because in Obama time, more people was deported. But I just want to also send the message about, yes, we have our shelters in Mexico. If you guys want to contact us, you guys can do through our website, winhearts.org. There's many ways to help. And the number one is please pray for these children. A lot of people think that, oh, they're being rescued, that everything is fine. No, that's where the really challenges start, because the kids are very hurt, damaged emotionally, psychological, and we have everything that we need to provide them: medical assistance, psychiatric assistance, psychological, but all this needs a lot of support. And please join us in this fight and to
Thank you.
Kids. Thank
you so much. We are out of time. That hour went by so fast, so fast. Information, some more of the information that we've heard from this show today is going to be on the replay of Conversations That Make a Difference on YouTube under Dream Vision 7 Radio. So be sure to look for the information there. Join us on the 22nd for the DJs Against Trafficking. There's going to be lots of things that you can do, lots of things that you can learn, and lots of ways for you to donate. And if you want to donate right away, find us on GoFundMe and go ahead and send your dollars in. You get a gift with everything that you send. So be sure that you take time to at least listen and learn a little bit more on how you can prevent this horrific crime from happening. Thank you all for being here. And one more thing to say: let all the conversations that you're having with everybody in your life, think about what you're saying, think about what you're doing, let it make a difference for them and a difference for you. We'll see you next time.
Tune in next time for Conversations That Make a Difference with host Teresa Velardi every Tuesday at 5 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern, with live call-in shows every first and third Tuesday on syndicated Dream Vision 7 Radio Network. Thank you for listening, and thank you to our station owner, Deborah Beauvais, working behind the scenes. Be sure to go to conversationsthatmakeadifference.com for your free gift. Make sure your conversations make a difference.